The 4th of July in baseball are traditions married together in American history. The national pastime has flourished in Detroit for over 100 years, and today on the nation's 234th birthday, Independence Day and Tigers baseball continue the tradition set a century ago. Today the Tigers face the Mariners, looking for the sweep here this afternoon as we check the standings in the American League Central Division. The Tigers right now percentage points ahead of the Minnesota Twins and in first place in the American League Central. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pemba, Ron Allen, glad to have you with us. Happy 4th of July, everybody. It's been a great 4th of July weekend so far for the Tigers. Ron, they've taken the first 2 games of the series. Today, though, Cliff Lee will go for the Mariners. He's been awfully good in his last 3.
Well, Cliff Lee is one of the best left-handed pitchers in all of baseball. We talked about the Tigers from an offensive standpoint in last night's game. They do pretty nice work against left-handers, but the Tigers offensively will need to be at their best today because this guy in his last 3 games, 3 complete games, he gets it done with the majority of different fastballs. He'll run it, he'll sink it, he'll cut it. He also has an outstanding curveball and a changeup and slider to go along with that. This guy does so many things right on the mound. He's awfully tough to beat when he's going as well as he has in the month of June.
All right, now Cliff Lee is very, very good, but it's not like the Tigers are really intimidated by him. They've got some guys that have done some pretty good work against Lee.
Well, you start talking about Inge and Ordonez and Cabrera. Those numbers work very well against anybody, in particular Cliff Lee. And you take a look at the 12 starts since 06 for Cliff Lee. He is 2-8 against Detroit. So Detroit has been one team that's been able to stress out Cliff Lee. Let's hope they can stress him out today.
It would be nice to have a stressful day for Cliff Lee. That is no doubt about that. That's the story from here at Comerica Park. Right now we send it back to the Call Sam Studios. And with more on our coverage, here is Trevor Tufts. To a participating Arby's location tomorrow and get a free small order of curly fries. We'll check out the starting lineup for the visiting Seattle Mariners. That is brought to you by Honda Bloomfield. Ichiro leads it off. Leads the major leagues with 24 infield hits. Had another one last night. They've got Sean Figgins at second. Russell Branyan is their DH today. Jose Lopez is cleaning up. Franklin Gutierrez in center field. Casey Kochman, the slick fielding first baseman. Then Josh Wilson, Rob Johnson, and Michael Saunders for Seattle. Here is the scouting report on Tigers right-hander Jeremy Bonderman. It's presented today by Scott's Lawn Pro.
Well, Bonderman understands he has very little margin for error today with Cliff Lee twirling for the Seattle Mariners. When you go up against a guy like that, you've got to be at your best because you know he usually does not give up lots of runs. Bonderman's been outstanding during the daylight. 3-1 with an earned run average under 2.5, and he would like to limit the holiday fireworks as far as home runs are concerned. He's given up 7 in his last 6 starts.
Well, how about some of the season numbers on Bonderman? Kind of a mixed bag this year for Jeremy.
You know, one of the things that he has done very well this year, and he'll need to do as much today against this Seattle team, it's hard to sweep a team in a 3-game series. First time through the lineup, he'll need to be as good as he has been all year long.
Gorgeous afternoon here today. First pitch of the ball game is outside to Ichiro Suzuki. It is 86 degrees at game time here this afternoon on a beautiful day for baseball. Tigers and M's wrapping up this series on a holiday. There's a bouncer to short, and he whirled quickly to first base, and they get him by half a step.
Let's take a look at the rest of the Tigers defensively. It's always presented by Beaumont Hospital. You've got the outfield of Bosch, Jackson, and Ordonez, and it's a very productive outfield. Inge, Worth, Rayburn getting the nod at second today. Cabrera, the all-star, at first. Gerald Laird, G-Money back behind the dish.
Brennan Bosch opening up in left field here this afternoon. Every field will be the Sun Field today. First pitch is a strike call.
A little bit more about those numbers. Bonderman first time through the batting order. A sub-200 batting average for the opponents, which is a real nice way to get into the game.
The 0-1. Slice toward left. That'll drop in front of Bosch. And there's a base hit for Sean Figgins.
You didn't want to pitch in any stress in the first inning, and that's exactly what you have to pitch in now with Figgins on first base. Here's those numbers on Bondo. First time through, second time through, and a third time through. Apparently, the opposing teams are making adjustments against Jeremy.
There was a time with Bonderman where the first time through, the numbers were sky high. Here is Russell Branyan, the designated hitter, who is 1 for 3 in the series. Tigers, for the most part, have done a really good job of keeping Ichiro off the base. And that has helped their cause here in the first 2 games of the series, winning in each of the first 2. A chance for the sweep today.
Branyan's got real power, and you've got to be careful with him. You've got to keep the ball at the bottom of the strike zone, and you've got to keep it down and away from him. That's a good pitch. Branyan cannot do a whole lot of damage with that last located fastball. And this is the one thing that Bonderman has worked very hard on this year, keeping the ball south of the knee on the corners.
Branyan has been hot. 18 hits in his last 16 games. Recently picked up in a trade. Branyan coming over from Cleveland. Big time power. In fact, one year early on in his career in the minor leagues, in 132 games in A-ball, he hit 40 home runs in the Carolina League. And early on in his career, professionally, showed off that power that has followed him to the big league level. 2-1 is hit on the ground to second base. Rayburn goes to second one. Relays in time to double play. 4-6-3. Good start for Bonderman. scouting report on Cliff Lee. Get the Bernstein advantage. We go to bat for you.
Well, usually when Cliff Lee toes the rubber for the Seattle Mariners, their bullpen gets a holiday. And that's because he twirls complete game after complete game. And, of course, he's a very hot commodity. He's the LeBron James of baseball as the trade deadline approaches. But the Tigers, they have hit him real well. Tigers 2-8. He is 2-8 against the Tigers since 2006. So as good as he is, he's had some trouble with our guys.
So the 6'3", 190-pounder out of Benton, Arkansas, going at it today, and that one is flared foul down the first base line. 0-2 on Austin Jackson.
Did not make his first start until April 30th, but these are some of the numbers that Cliffy has been able to compile. Look at the 75 strikeouts against 5 walks. That is mind-boggling. He has more wins than batters he has walked this year. Fascinating.
Cliff Lee headed to the All-Star game, announced earlier this afternoon, to no one's surprise. And there's a ball high, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ichiro also going for Seattle. And for the Tigers, Papa Grande Valverde is headed to the All-Star game along with the guy we all expected, Miguel Cabrera. But that is it. Only 2 Tigers announced to the All-Star game this year. 1-2 on Austin Jackson. Caddy will not start, which is something he really wanted to do, but he'll be there nonetheless. Slow roller hit toward third base. And no chance for Lopez. Infield single for Austin Jackson.
Cliff Lee does a lot of things right on the mound, and we've documented that. A perfect delivery, nice follow through, but nothing he could do with that ball off of Jackson's bat. Nice start today for Detroit.
Jackson now, albeit an infield single, has an 8-game hitting streak. So here's Johnny Damon, who is in the lineup today. The Tiger skipper Jim Leyland noticed that left-handers really have better numbers, ironically, against Lee. So Damon is in there, even though his numbers career against Cliff are not very good.
Left-handers are hitting .274 against Cliff, and right-handers are .214. I was right there with you when you said last night that Damon would not play today. That's exactly what Jim told us, but I guess after diving into the numbers, you have to find some kind of advantage for your club against Cliff.
Well, and not only that, but when you look at the career numbers, lefties are hitting .268 against Cliff Lee, which is really pretty good.
Hit and run, and with Damon in that batter's box and Jackson taking off from first base, which is what you might have to do against Cliff Lee. He holds runners real well, which means you're not going to get a good jump. And he's also the kind of guy that you've got to put pressure on that way because he doesn't yield lots of base hits.
1-2 on Johnny Damon. Cliff Lee was on the disabled list early this year. It's in the air toward left. Routine for Michael Saunders. First out of the inning. And Jackson back to first base. He's going to bring up Maglio Ordonez. Lee had an abdominal strain that he suffered during spring training. And so he was put on the DL on April the 4th. Activated from the DL at the end of April, so he missed much, if not all, of the first month.
When Jack Zarincic, their general manager, made the deal to get Cliff Lee from the Philadelphia Phillies, many had this team, the Mariners, winning the American League West. But as you mentioned, Lee missed the first 30 games of the year, and Seattle got off to a miserable start.
Ordonez is in safely in his last 3 as he rolls it foul. Well, I was one of those guys that really thought Seattle was going to roll this year, and not only because of the pitching, but because they also picked up Figgins. I thought Figgins and Ichiro at the top of the lineup is just going to be too much for most teams to handle. But they just had not gotten any power offensively. They'd not been very good.
They have so many guys below their career averages right now. Kochman, their first baseman. Figgins, you mentioned. Lopez is having a slow year offensively. Ken Griffey Jr. has now retired.
Oh, right back off of Lee. It'll go to the shortstop on a bare hand. Wilson throws off the bag, and everybody is safe. And Cliff Lee is the story right now as Don Wakamatsu and the trainer come out.
He's trying to walk that off. That got him pretty good. He's saying he's okay, but the line drive got him real well. Looked like it got him right off the right foot.
A sharply hit ball off the bat of Ordonez. He had no chance to get out of the way. Wilson probably had more time on that play than he thought. So here is Miguel Cabrera. Lee is all right. He'll stay in the game. No problems. Tigers have 2 men on here in the first inning. Cabrera, an all-star. It's just been announced here at the ballpark. They gave him a nice round of applause. And he rips one right back up the middle into center. Jackson coming around to score. And the all-star Cabrera makes it 1-0.
Cabrera not only has outstanding numbers against Cliff Lee, but he also is a serious run producer. And the Tigers are going to be swinging early and often this afternoon against Lee because he's a strike thrower. He throws lots of strikes, therefore you can be very aggressive. And Cabrera jumps on the first fastball he sees and whistles it right back up the middle.
3 hits already for the Tigers. Jackson scores with ease. And for Cabrera, RBI 69. He is still trailing Vlad Guerrero in the American League.
Great pitchers, and Cliff Lee would fall into that category. You've got to get him early. And he has opened the window for this offense to get him real early because you know he's going to settle in at some point in time during this ball game.
Bosch, the batter, has hit safely in his last 6, and Cliff Lee now has allowed 7 earned in the first inning. 8 total. Popped him up. Foul ground, third base side. Lopez calling off the catcher, Johnson.
That's one thing Cliff Lee will do. As a matter of fact, 17 fly ball outs or pop-ups against the Yankees the last time that he pitched, which was 4 days ago. He will elevate the fastball, and he does it on purpose. It's a pitch that looks good, but you have to lay off of it. Brennan couldn't lay off of it, and he pops up to third. 17 fly ball outs last time for Cliff Lee.
Lee with 3 straight complete games through 115 pitches in each of his last 2 starts and 106 the start before that. And those 3 straight complete games. Rayburn fouls it away. Ryan Vanek 221, a couple of hits in the series, and he has a double. Trying to pick up Ordonez and Cabrera. 1-0 on the RBI single by Miguel. Fouled away again, 0-2. So Rayburn gives Guillen the day off today. Ryan started in left field last night. At second base today. Cardinals just chilling, trying out the new eyewear. Actually, they were Santiago's.
Cliff Lee's got a different fastball for every hitter. There's some he will cut into the right-handers. There's some he will tail down and away. You saw the elevated fastball to Ben Bosch. He also throws a 12-6 curveball, which is an outstanding pitch from that same arm slot. And it looks like a fastball coming out of his hand. And those are just a few of the reasons why Cliff Lee has been so good the last few years.
Back up the middle for Wilson. He'll flip to second for the force, retiring the side. Tigers score first, though. Miguel Cabrera, 5-time All-Star now, puts the Tigers ahead. 4th of July. Gorgeous day this afternoon, and a 4th of July baby as well, enjoying Tigers baseball.
And pretty little girl all decked out in red, white, and blue.
Jose Lopez leads it off in the second. It'll be Lopez, Gutierrez, and Kochman. Tigers have a 1-0 lead in search of the sweep over Seattle. Bonderman missing away, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Lopez is a dead pull hitter, and that's one of the reasons why he's hitting .240 this year. And the way that you get him out is you try to hit him to hit the ball to right field, which he does not like to do a lot of.
2-1.
There's the proof.
Lopez has not had nearly the type of season power-wise that he had last year when he hit 25 home runs. Rayburn plays this ball up the middle. 1 out. It's going to bring up Gutierrez.
Bonderman will throw a few changeups here today to some of these left-handed hitters. Bonderman, as you know, his fastball anywhere from 91 to 92. Still has a good slider, but it doesn't have the same biting effect that it had before he had his injury a couple of years ago. But he's done nice work as the, I guess, number 4, number 5 starter, whichever number he has been in their rotation.
There's a strike on Gutierrez. Or as Jim Leland likes to say, my number 1 is the guy that's starting that night.
No, we know Verlander's number 1.
He proved that again last night. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Ripped into left field, base hit.
Boy, did he pull his hands in nicely on a 93-mile-per-hour fastball. Gutierrez has got some lightning quick hands. This is not an easy pitch to get to, but watch his hands. The ball's inside, hands come close to the body, which pulls the head of the bat over the heart of the plate, and that ball is a seed to left field.
Here's Casey Kochman. 2 for 5 in the series for Kochman. Had a couple of hits last night. And his errorless streak continues. 243 consecutive errorless games at first base, which is a major league record. Runner goes and a pitch out. He smelled this out. The throw is a poor one, and it goes into center field. Gutierrez all the way to third base. The Tigers guessed correctly, and Gerald Laird uncharacteristically uncorked a wild throw.
That is unfortunate. When your manager sniffs out and the base runner taking off, boy, you got to execute this play in the big leagues. Not only does he get the stolen base, but he also gets to third base with 1 out.
So the Tigers now drawing the infield in here in the second inning with a runner at third base and 1 away. Kochman takes a ball low. Stolen base, E2. Gutierrez gets his 10th steal. Now the 2-0 pitch. Way inside, 3 balls, no strikes.
Let's take a look at Laird's throw, because we usually do not see the balls that tail on him. And he's got a good grip on it because he throws with 3 fingers on the baseball anyway, but that ball wasn't close from the time it left his glove. I mean, his hand, excuse me.
Ball 4, and put Kochman aboard on a 4-pitch walk. First walk of the game now for Bonderman.
Well, Bondo's already gotten 1 double play in this game. He got that one back in the first inning. Branyan hit into a 4-6-3 double play. He'd love to get Wilson to hit something on the ground. Tigers up the middle infield-wise are playing at double play depth.
Wilson batting .271. Big swing, 0-1. Seattle this year has bounced into 55 double plays as a team, which is the lowest amount to the American League. Trying to tie this one up at least here. 1-0 Detroit in the second. 1 ball, 1 strike. Josh Wilson starting in place of Jack Wilson.
I don't know if Don Wakamatsu will do it early here today, but he loves to squeeze. You know, Wakamatsu is one manager that kind of manages like the National League, and Wilson's one of those guys that can handle the bat.
Big swing, 1-2 count on Wilson.
The last 2 swings that Wilson has taken against Bonderman are a couple of swings where he is trying to hit a fly ball. And that's one of the things that kind of works in your favor if you're Bonderman, when you have a smaller guy that usually does not hit lots of fly balls, that's trying to elevate the baseball. Bonderman continues and needs to work at the bottom of the strike zone for that ground ball.
Two and two on Wilson, who is playing in his 9th different organization. He's bounced around quite a bit. He's had opportunities with several other teams at the big league level, including Florida, Arizona, Tampa, to name a few. And the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Down he goes. Wilson is out on strikes, and that'll be the first strikeout of the game for Bonderman.
And Lincoln Mercury is going to show us the slider of Bonderman, located very well, down and away to Josh Wilson. A nice block job by Gerald Laird as well.
So it's going to bring up Rob Johnson with 2 outs. Bonderman has a chance to pitch out of this trouble here. Johnson hitting an even 200 is 0 for 2 with a walk in the series. Today's Bonderman's 8th start at home here at Comerica Park. In his previous 7 in this ballpark, he has an ERA of 2.41 and a 2-2 record. Unlike most other Tigers pitchers, he has done very well here, and the Tigers have won a lot of games at home. In fact, they are 27-11. Only Texas and Boston have won more games at home this year. Jeremy's last start at Minnesota was a win. He went 5 1/3, giving up 4 runs, but on that day the Tigers got him 7. Two and one.
A dangerous count now here for Bonderman, even though Johnson hitting only 200 in a 2-1 count. And there should be no doubt in his mind that he's going to get a fastball, and usually 200 hitters in this count, they become a little bit better.
Lifted down the right field line. It'll go foul, back out of play. 2-2 on Rob Johnson. Well, today's game here on the 4th of July is available in crystal clear high definition on Fox Sports Detroit HD, sponsored today by Comcast. And a lot of Tigers fans enjoying Tigers baseball on a holiday afternoon here at the ballpark. Hope your 4th of July weekend has been a safe one so far.
Johnson got his 2-1 fastball from Bondo at about 90 miles an hour right down the middle, and he was late on that 2-1 pitch.
Runner goes from first and a foul ball. Kochman was on the run. 2-2 on Johnson.
Kochman usually does not steal lots of bases, but that was a slider count. And one of the reasons why Don Wakamatsu turned him loose. They were anticipating a breaking ball in the dirt.
He's showing him the baseball. And home plate umpire C.B. Buckner says, no, he fouled that off. Nice try, though, by Laird.
C.B. Buckner told Laird, I was born, but not yesterday.
Not even close.
Don't insult my intelligence.
Inning opened up with a ground out, then a single by Gutierrez, and when he stole second base, the throw sailed into center. That opened up a scoring chance for Seattle. They have men at first and third with 2 outs, though, and 2-2 on the 200 hitting Rob Johnson. Swing and a miss. Vondervan comes back to pick up strikeouts of Wilson and Johnson. And the Mariners strand 2.
Against Seattle.
And the offense will try and tack on to a 1-0 lead as we go to the bottom of the second. Tigers got a run in the first on the RBI hit by Miguel Cabrera. Inge, Laird, and Worth, the bottom 3 facing Cliff Lee. And he delivers a strike 1-1 on Brandon Inge. Batting .259. Pretty good series, 4 for 8 with 3 RBIs. The 1-1. 1-2 on Inge. Lee last year was lights out for the Philadelphia Phillies. Here's the 1-2. And he missed it high. 2 balls, 2 strikes. In fact, in 5 postseason starts, he was 4-0 with an ERA of about 1.5.
2 of those starts came against the New York Yankees.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. Strike 3.
Hey fans, 4th of July weekend extends tomorrow as the Tigers take on the Baltimore Orioles at 1:05. It's a very special Kids Day celebration. Free rides on the carousel and Ferris wheel, face painting, post-game kids run the bases. The perfect way to wrap up your holiday weekend. Get your tickets by calling 866-66-TIGER or online at tigers.com.
Here comes Gerald Laird with 1 out. Ball 1 to Laird.
Even there are many that are saying that Cliff Lee's postseason dominance last year is one of the most dominant performances that any has ever seen by an individual pitcher in postseason.
That's into right field for Ichiro, and that's an easy out, 2 gone. Well, and he also changed leagues. He went to the National League, which obviously many feel it's an easier league to pitch in, but still, he struck out 10 Yankees in one of those starts against New York.
His first 5 starts after he was traded from Cleveland to Philadelphia, he went 5-0 with an earned run average at 1. Became only the second pitcher in the last 60 years, joining Fernando Valenzuela, to have a sub-1 earned run average and 5-0 with a new team.
Danny Worth, the batter, down with 2 outs.
And Fernando was pretty good, too, when he broke in with the Dodgers.
Here's Lee's 0-1 pitch. Well, the longer Cliff Lee stays with Seattle, the less he is worth to a team that will acquire him, because obviously Lee a free agent at the end of the year, and they would like to get as many starts as possible, a new team would, out of Cliff Lee. All-star break right around the corner. Halfway point just about here, and a strike 3 called on Worth. A 1-2-3 inning. A couple of strikeouts for Cliff Lee. Our teams are announced. There are some guys that are going to be upset. That's bunted right back to Bonderman. But throw safe. Saunders can run a little bit, and he beat it out.
That's a good job by Saunders, because he's been slowed down in this series as far as the bat is concerned. And he is trying to help his team prevent from being swept. Very nice job of getting the ball down and making Bonderman field it. You want Laird not to field it. If Laird fields it, more than likely he throws you out. But you're talking about all-star snubs. Felix Hernandez, one of the aces of the Seattle Mariners, he didn't make the team either.
Well, Skipper was talking about that before the game, and Leland has a lot of experience in all-star games, whether as a manager or as a coach. And he talked about the difficulty of sculpting a team, because there are so many that are deserving of going, but there are just so many spots, and the way the system is set up, it's difficult to really get all the guys that deserve to be there. And every year, because of that, there are some that will not make the team, but certainly have the numbers to, like Verlander this year.
As far as the All-Star team starters, I think the fans pretty much got it right. I mean, you can argue Cabrera over Morneau at first base, but every other position, as far as the American League is concerned, I would not have a beef with any of those decisions.
Bouncing ball to first. Cabrera throws to second one. Relay! Threw it high and off the glove of Cabrera. So Ichiro almost bounced into another double play, which would have only been his third this year.
Saunders is a pretty tall fella, and obviously you've got to hurry when you're trying to turn a double play with Ichiro running down the line, but it looked like Cabrera gave Danny Wirth an outstanding feed in a hurry, and then Cabrera able to get back to the bag, but even with his 6'5" frame, not able to get up and climb that one, and as soon as Danny Wirth let it go, it was headed high.
One on, one out. Here's Sean Figgins. Figgins takes inside 1-0. Single for Sean back in the first, his fourth hit of the series.
And when Sean Figgins was on base in the first inning, he did not attempt to steal, and he's one of your better base stealers in the American League. So apparently, and Bonderman doing a very nice job at least limiting the jumps that Suzuki and Figgins can get here today.
Figgins was an all-star last year for the first time in his career. He scored 114 runs, walked over 100 times. The catalyst to the Angels offense, and then left in the offseason to come to Seattle. This year, though, it's been a whole lot different for Sean. Blocked by Laird. 2-0 on Figgins.
I did not know, but Justin White, reporting on Tigers' a pregame show today, said that because Figgins was offered arbitration from his former club, the Angels, when the Mariners signed him to a 3-year deal, they lost their first-round draft choice this year in June.
Wasn't aware of that either.
Which means Figgins really needs to step it up a little bit. Tigers also did not have a first-round pick because they signed Valverde. But he's been worth it.
2-0 and the runner goes. Big jump. Here comes the throw. It is high. The tag not in time. Laird made that a lot closer than I thought he would. Ichiro gets the steal, his 22nd.
Well, you knew they would be aggressive today because they're trying to prevent from being swept. But a nice exchange to the throwing hand. But the fact that the throw was a little high and Wirth had to reach up for it and then come down to try to tag Ichiro is the difference in him being safe and out. If the throw is down on the bag, Ichiro is caught stealing here.
3-0 on Figgins. And there's a strike, 3-1. Tigers got a run in the first. So far it has held up. Each team with 3 hits. Ichiro, 22 steals. Been caught 7 times. There's ball 4. So put 2 aboard now, and while we have a chance, we go back to the studio. We check in with Trevor Thompson for this game break. Born on the 4th of July. Yeah, George Steinbrenner.
Even though there's a left-handed batter in that batter's box, you still have to be careful with Ichiro at second base. You cannot allow him to get a good jump because he will steal third.
Oh. High, towering fly ball deep to right field. Ordonez going back, still going back. And that ball is up, and it is out. It's gone, a home run, a majestic home run for Russell Branyan. Deepest part of the ballpark, and he just flicked it out of there. It's his 12th home run of the year.
That's why they reacquired Paul Bunyan, and that would be Russell Branyan. He's got real power. He had 31 home runs last year wearing a Seattle Mariners uniform, and that's a slider that really did not do a whole lot. And we've well documented his power the last couple of days anyway in Brandon.
Lopez looks at a ball high.
And Bonderman now has given up 8 home runs in his last 7 starts. So we were trying to prevent those home run fireworks.
392 feet on that home run. That's driven deep to left field. Bosch going back at the warning track. 2 outs. So Branyan, who is known for his prodigious power, that now has 12 home runs. And he's been a hot hitter, period, of late for Seattle. Comes up big today. Cliff Lee now has a 3-1 lead to work with. Here's Franklin Gutierrez. Singled, stole a base, did not score back in the second. We'll go foul, third base side, 1 ball, 1 strike.
And a lot of baseball to be played here yet today, but the lack of execution there on the double play ball with Ichiro running. And then Bonderman did not help himself by walking Figgins, which led to the big fella Brandon coming up and playing long ball.
In the air to center for Jackson. Over to his left to retire the side. Big inning though for Seattle to get the home run from Branyan. Thank you, Corporal Thompson, for all you do on this 4th of July. We hope you have a safe 4th of July as well. As the Tigers bat here in the 3rd inning, it is 3-1 in favor of Seattle. It'll be Jackson, Damon, and then Maglio Ordonez.
And we also hope all of you out there have a very safe holiday and a happy one, especially if you're around the water.
Here's the 1-0 pitch, and there's the strike, 1-1. A lot of barbecues being fired up today, I would imagine.
No doubt. Today's one of those days where you just kind of throw everything out the window as far as if you're dieting or if you're trying to watch what you eat or any of that kind of stuff.
You don't keep the calorie counter handy?
No. Today is one of those days where all hands on deck.
You can cheat. You're allowed to today. 1-2 on Jackson. Well, we'll see how Cliff Lee does here with a 3-1 lead. The Branyan home run is giving Seattle a 2-run edge.
Tigers have good numbers against Cliff Lee since 2006, but he is one of the best pitchers in the league.
Got him. Strike three. Jackson is punched out of there, and that is 3 strikeouts now for Cliff Lee.
Well, join us in Miller High Life this summer and help give returning vets a piece of a high life. Go to MillerHighLife.com for more details.
Cliff Lee is starting to really locate his fastball, in particular the cut fastball. And he does 2 things with that cut fastball. He cuts it inside against the right-handers, and he also will backdoor you with that same cut fastball.
Johnny Damon flied out his first time up. Now 2 for 23 career against Cliff Lee. This one is hit deep, but it's not going to be deep enough.
Cliff Lee works the 4 quadrants of the strike zone about as any pitcher that I've seen since Kurt Schilling. Kurt Schilling made a living on throwing his fastball to the opposing team's hitters' weaknesses. And Cliff Lee does that very well, too. He works at the top of the strike zone, inside and outside, and at the bottom of the strike zone, of course, at the knees on the black with that same 2 fastballs. So it really gives him 4 different pitches.
Ordonez had an infield hit. In fact, he hit a bullet right off of the foot of Cliff Lee back in the first inning. Well, you can look at all the numbers that Lee has put up. All the complete games are very impressive. The ERA is very impressive. But for me, the most impressive thing is his walks. His strikeout to walk ratio is over 15-1, which is just really unheard of.
Cy Young, a couple of years ago, he went 22-3 with a league best 2.5 for 4 earned run average. Cy Young. And that year in 08, he had to really fight to make Eric Wedge a starting rotation that year. He was the odd man out in spring training that year.
Well, not only did he come back nicely with the Indians, but he will be a hot commodity the next couple of weeks. That has popped up.
Shallow right field. The second baseman Figgins is going to have trouble with it, but he hangs on to it. He hit the deck, but held on. Side retired. Tigers go 1-2-3. 4th inning on the way.
Who gave up the 3-run homer to Branyan in the 3rd, putting Seattle in the lead in this one, 3-1. Kochman had a walk in his last at bat.
Skies this one in the air to shallow right field. Going to be trouble, it appears, and it'll drop. Base hit. Leadoff man is on. Kochman aboard for the second time today. Well, the All-Star starters are in. You've got Morneau at first base, Cano, Jeter, Longoria, and Mauer. Your outfield features Hamilton, Ichiro, and Crawford, and your DH, Vladimir.
Fans nailed it. They absolutely nailed it. You agree with those?
You know, I'm looking at all those names, trying to find one that I don't agree with, and I can't. Yeah, I think they're all good. There's a strike call. I know Michael Young is having a pretty good year with Texas. You know, and Jeter, I guess, might be the only one that you could maybe look at.
Michael Young plays third base now, though.
Yeah, true. And Jeter is Jeter's Jeter.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
Jeter is batting .281.
Off the top of my head, though, I can't think of another shortstop in the American League that's doing any better, though.
No. I'd have to really delve into the numbers, but this is one of those years where it looks like they got them all right. I know there had been years where sometimes the guys sitting on the bench have had better years than the starters that were elected.
Oh, no doubt.
I mean, that happens a lot. But this year you can make a case for every one of those guys. Runner goes, swinging a miss or foul. It's fouled off at home plate. So let's send the runner back to first base. That's Kochman. All-Star game in Anaheim, California this year. And, of course, all of the other things that go with it. The Futures game, the home run hitting contest. The 1-2 is rolled foul just outside of the bag at third base. Josh Wilson is from the Pittsburgh area. In fact, his father was head coach at Duquesne University, their baseball team at Duquesne, Mike Wilson, for so many years. But Duquesne decided this would be their last year for baseball. So Mike Wilson is out of a job and right now spending his days watching his son Josh playing the big leagues. But Mike should find another job. Highly respected. Swing and a miss. Josh goes down swinging again. Third strikeout for Bonderman.
Hey fans, baseball's biggest stars go head to head for one spectacular night in this summer's biggest event. Tune in when Fox brings you every thrilling moment of the 2010 All-Star Game from Anaheim, July 13th, 8 p.m. on your local Fox station.
Here's Johnson. He struck out back in the second. Bonderman is fan 3. He faced the minimum back in the first, courtesy of a double play. There's a fly ball into left field. Bosch camping under it. 2 gone.
What about the pitchers, Rod? Well, Sabathia, Buchholz, Carmona, David Price, Feliz, Phil Hughes. I really can't disagree with any of those guys. David Price might be the leader in the clubhouse to start the All-Star game with the numbers that he has put up if it falls into his favor as far as when the last time he pitches before the All-Star game. Trevor Cahill of the Oakland Athletics is not having a Verlander-type year, but obviously there has to be one player representative from each club, and Trevor Cahill is going from the Athletics.
Yeah, that's where you get into the numbers thing. Cahill has the 4th best ERA in the American League, but Price leads the league in wins and ERA. So unless he's pitching Sunday, I would imagine he's a pretty good shot to get that call.
Who's that?
David Price.
11
wins, 2.42 ERA. Fouled straight back. 1-1 on Saunders.
Buckholz and Phil Hughes are a couple of guys that jump out at me as well. A couple of guys that started the season as number 5 starters on their respective clubs in Boston and New York, and both having all-star years.
Buckholz could make an argument. 10 wins and the second best ERA. Two balls and 1 strike.
The American League has 7 starting pitchers with 10 wins or more. David Price has 11. And I bet Verlander's the only one that has 10 wins that was left off.
Pettit was left off, wasn't he? Yeah, Andy Pettit has 10 wins. He was left off, but
it's tough.
The rest are on.
So tough.
Did he go? Yep.
Kerwin Danley down at third base.
Good call.
KD. KD told me he's going on vacation today after this game. Umpires get a week off during the regular season.
It's a pretty good gig.
How about that?
Where's he going? Did he tell you?
He didn't say. No. He's a SoCal guy, so he's probably going to hang out on the beach somewhere.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Saunders. And he popped it up. Left side of the infield. Danny Worth. Inning over. No runs, a hit, 1 left. Bottom of the 4th coming up. John Adams and Thomas Jefferson. And that's all I got for you. History 101 here at the ballpark today. Cabrera, the batter, 1-0. I'll bet you there are some folks out there that can name all 56.
Oh, no doubt.
2-0 the count on Cabrera. Bosch and then Rayburn will follow. Three balls, no strikes. Cabrera had a single to drive in a run in the first, extending his hitting streak to 13 straight, and he trails Vladimir Guerrero now in the American League in the RBI chase. Vladdy has 70, Cabrera 69.
Only the 6th walk this year by Cliff Lee.
That's going to bring up Brendan Bosch. You know, when you think of those, and this just made me think of that, when you think of the walk numbers that Lee has had, think of how many Cabrera type hitters or big hitters in opposing lineups that sometimes you want to pitch around. He apparently hasn't even done that this year.
Nope, he goes right after you. He locates his fastball very well, as he did to Brendan Bosch. Bosch's first time up, but Bosch gets him this time.
Right back up the middle.
And as we have documented, Brendan Bosch hits some of the best left-handers in the game, and he can add Cliff Lee to that list. Left-handed opponents' batting average against left-handed batters this year for Thornton, Lester, Sabathia, and Liriano. Well, they're very good. But Brendan Bosch is hitting .453 this year against lefties. And the major league average for left-handed hitters against left-handed pitchers is just .239. That is off the chain, as the young folks would say.
.274 against lefties now. Here's Rayburn. He takes a whack at it and fouls it back, 0-1.
You know, there are some pitchers where you go up there and you think about, okay, working the count and seeing some pitches. Cliff Lee is not that guy. If you're going up there and you're taking the first pitch, you're usually going to be behind in the count with 1 strike, because this guy throws the ball where he wants to on most occasions. Jim Leland was talking about that yesterday in his office.
Into right field for Ichiro. He's got a good arm, and Cabrera going nowhere. He's anchored at second base.
Some guys you work the count, and then sometimes you go up there and you have to swing at the first thing you see. As a matter of fact, Cliff Lee 2 starts ago, he went 0-2 on 19 hitters. No balls, 2 strikes on 19 hitters 2 starts ago.
Here comes Brandon Inge. Inge, a strikeout victim, back in the second. Swing and a miss.
I sure hope Cliff Lee does not end up in the Minnesota Twins uniform, though. That much I do know.
Yeah, because people are talking about that.
I just hope. I don't care where he goes. I just don't want him landing in the Central.
I guess I would assume that Liriano would be considered their ace. I know Pavano's probably pitching the best of all of them. But if you throw this guy in their rotation,
he's a difference maker.
Yeah, they become really, really good. Inge is out of there on strikes.
He's a difference maker. If you've got a contending team and you acquire Cliff Lee, all of a sudden you become a possible representative in the World Series. That's how good he is.
Enjoying a 3-1 lead here. Tigers are threatening with 2 outs now, and here's Gerald Laird.
Jack Zarincic, their general manager, is in a familiar position as he was a couple of years ago. But a couple of years ago, he was working in the front office for Milwaukee when they acquired CC Sabathia. This time around, he has to trade a former Cy Young Award winner in Cliff Lee. So you know he was in those talks a couple of years ago when they acquired Sabathia. And he's going to try to get as much as he possibly can for Cliff Lee if he does, in fact, have to trade him. Jack Zarincic also built that Milwaukee organization with guys like Braun and Weeks and Cecil Fielder's son, Prince.
Got it. Strike 3. Laird is called out on strikes. Didn't like it. That's 5 strikeouts for Cliff Lee as we celebrate the 4th of July. A patriotic day here at the ballpark.
Jason Hayward not having an all-star year, but that just goes to show how popular the youngster in Atlanta is these days. He wins one of those votes. Braun Ethier fill out the outfield spot.
So here come the M's now as we go to the 5th inning. It'll be at the top of the order. Ichiro Suzuki facing Bonderman. First pitch strike, 0-1.
It also kind of gives you a difference in the league because you have a guy in our outfield, a youngster, well, really two of them in Bosch and Jackson. Obviously not all-stars, and having just as good a years as that youngster is in Atlanta.
Yeah, absolutely. Hayward, because of, I think, his thumb problems recently, had his batting average plummet a little bit. But Bosch and Jackson have been absolutely terrific for Detroit. Ichiro bangs one out of play.
And in the grand scheme of things, those two young kids could use the rest. When it's all said and done, if they stay healthy, they will play more baseball this year than they have ever played. And it's only going to get harder. Second half of the season as opposing teams start to make adjustments. Those young kids will have to be ready to make adjustments themselves.
Bosch getting over there. It's a foul ball. Into the corner it goes. Yeah, that's what's going to be interesting to see, because Jackson, aside from the 2 times where he was kept out of the lineup when he was beamed the first time, and then that little back issue he had, has gone out there every day. And we're seeing Bosch go out there every day, too.
And they're playing in a pennant race. They have not played this kind of baseball under this kind of pressure, really, ever. Imperative for Bonderman to keep Suzuki off the base paths.
They've done a pretty good job of that in this series. Ichiro reaching on a fielder's choice and stealing a base and then scoring on the home run by Branyan. That was back in the 3rd. A 1-2. 2-2 the count.
G-Money, he wants that call. He was called out on a strike by C.B. Buckner that last half inning, and Gerald was not happy with that call.
There's strike 3. Ichiro punched out of there, and well, now he doesn't like the call. 4 strikeouts for Bonderman.
Well, I have to bring this up, and I don't want to pick on C.B. Buckner, but the major league players, they did a poll, and they selected the best umpires and the worst umpire at calling balls and strikes. Jim Joyce was voted as the best strike ball calling umpire in the big leagues. And of course, we all know who Jim Joyce is, the Armando Galarraga near perfect game. And C.B. Buckner was voted as the worst. So that's what the players say.
Well, Gerald Laird the other day was saying that because Joyce had the plate after the infamous call at first base on Galarraga, and he was asked the other day, how did Joyce call balls and strikes that very next day? Because obviously he probably had zero sleep and all of the hoopla surrounding that event. And Gerald said, you know what? He didn't miss a beat. He was on it the next day behind the plate, which I guess speaks volumes to Jim Joyce's ability.
Usually as a home plate umpire, if you're getting through the game and you're not getting noticed,
you're good.
You're having a good day.
Which is awfully tough to do. 1-2 on Sean Figgins.
Figgins just sees lots of pitches every time he goes to the plate. 4, 5, 6 pitches on average for Figgins.
2-2 pitch. Tipped into the glove and out of the glove. Laird unable to hold on to it. Ichiro, by the way, 2 for 11 in this series with his strikeout here in the 5th inning. So they have really handled him pretty good. Again, the 2-2. 3-2 now on Sean Figgins. But he will be headed to the All-Star game.
His 10th consecutive All-Star appearance. And I don't know for sure, but he probably has started 10 straight All-Star games.
think you're probably right.
Because when he came to the United States in 2001, he was Rookie of the Year and MVP that year, and a batting title.
Back up the middle and under the glove of Rayburn. Figgins is on.
Hey fans, be at Comerica Park this Saturday for the 4:10 p.m. game between the Tigers and the Minnesota Twins. The first 10,000 fans receive a free travel tote. For tickets, call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com.
9 out of 10 for Ichiro. Trying to figure out the year he didn't start.
I'd have to think it was probably his first year.
Yeah, you might be right. Into center field, that's a base hit. So Branyan continues to pay dividends for Don Wakamatsu. Figgins goes all the way to third base.
We talked about Branyan a little bit the first couple of days. Big, strong, physical guys like Branyan, you've got to crowd them inside with fastballs above the belt buckle. He's already homered in this game. That was a hanging breaking ball that was away from him. And then he takes that 91-mile-per-hour fastball that's on the outer third and hits the seed into the outfield as well. You got to crowd those big guys.
It's going to bring up Lopez, and now Seattle with 7 hits in this game. With the other guy on the mound in Cliff Lee, they really can't afford, the Tigers that is, to fall behind by too many more. 2-run spread right now. And Lopez takes ball 1. Jose is 1 for 9 in the series. I mentioned this earlier, but this guy hit 25 home runs last year, and he has 5 this season. In his 7th year with Seattle. He's been a consistent offensive performer for them.
You know, you brought up earlier that this Seattle Mariners ball club has not hit into many double plays. I think you said fewest in the American League, but Lopez is one guy that will hit into a few. He has ground into 11 double plays this year, and Bonderman desperately needs that ground ball.
In the air, shallow left, worth a long run. Bosch coming in. Runner tagging but holding. Figgins goes back to third base. 2 gone. It's going to bring up a guy that has killed Tigers pitching, Franklin Gutierrez.
And he also whistled a single in the left field earlier in this game off Bonderman.
7 RBIs in 8 games. And here comes Rick Knapp out.
Well, it's the point of the game where Rick Knapp understands exactly what we just showed you. And Gutierrez has been good this year against Tigers pitching. You can't make a mistake here.
As they talk about it on the mound, we have a reminder for you to vote for your Tigers McDonald's Player of the Game today. Using your cell phone, text Tigers followed by a space and the player's uniform number to 37338. That's FSDET. See the final results postgame during Tigers Live. So the conversation is over now, and Gutierrez will step in. Franklin 1 for 2.
Gutierrez is also a dead pull hitter. And when you want to get him out, you've got to keep the ball away from him. Fastballs and breaking balls are usually better than trying to get inside on him.
On Franklin Gutierrez, who last year, after joining Seattle, picked up the most playing time he has had in his big league career. He played 153 games last year for the M's.
Where was that last pitch? Because Fox Tracks is saying it was right down the middle and it wasn't real low, but it was called a ball. And Gerald Laird, when he caught it, he was shocked it wasn't called a strike.
That thing was well inside Fox tracks.
It's a slider. Let's look at it. Now, this is the 1-0 pitch that was called a ball. I mean, it crosses the knees high enough. He may have caught it low, but I don't know why it was a ball.
Here's the 2-1. Well, Laird already has had a conversation with Buckner. That was after he was called out on a pitch to end an inning. In fact, to end the 4th inning. Gerald not too happy with that previous call as well. 2-2 on Franklin Gutierrez. Runner goes, and it's lined to left field. It's going to drop, base hit. That'll get a run in. Figgins will score.
Bonderman will tell you after this game the few runs that they've already driven in. The 3-run home run to Branyan was a breaking ball that hung up, and this breaking ball they wanted down and away from Gutierrez, but look at the location. Look at the glove of Laird reach back over toward the inside part of the plate. We've already told you that Gutierrez has got some really quick hands, and he has kind of liked hitting Tigers pitching this year.
Here's Casey Kochman. A 2-out run for Seattle. They lead 4-1, and Kochman takes a ball. And Bonderman now throws his arms up in the air as if to say, where was that? So he is getting frustrated. And you see the reaction there of Jeremy. Driven in the air and driven deep. Maglio goes back to the track, to the wall, and that ball is out of here. It's a home run. Casey Kochman hits one into the seats in right field. And the Mariners have broken this one open.
Well, if you're Kochman, you pretty much knew you were going to get a fastball right down the middle, because that's where Bonderman's been forced into throwing the fastballs if they're going to get called strikes. And Kochman drilled that. We'll take a look at Bondo and Laird. Both upset with CB.
Kochman's home run is 4th of the year, 7-1 ball game. Here's Josh Wilson. He fouls one back out of play. Second 3-run homer of the game for the Seattle Mariners. Branyan has the other. The 0-2 is on the ground at third base, right at Brandon Inge. And that is that, but a big inning, a 4-run inning for Seattle. You're watching Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit, presented by Harold Laird apparently has been tossed, and here comes Jim Leland. So Laird is out of this game. The starting battery is gone. Bonderman was thrown out between innings. And now Laird has been given the heave ho as well. And their skipper might follow. Well, there were two pitches, I think, that were sticking in the jaw of Bonderman. Here's one.
That was the Gutierrez. It was called a ball. And that one was called a ball. And then the next pitch was drilled by Kochman.
I will say this. CB took quite a bit. I mean, during that inning, as that ball was hit into right field and caught by Ichiro for the out, he didn't do a whole lot, but Bonderman forced the issue between innings and eventually was given the heave ho. Laird, of course, also frustrated with an at-bat in which he was called out on strikes and a pitch that he thought was a ball. One away here in the fifth inning. Here's Austin Jackson. So Cliff Lee now has a 7-1 lead to work with here in the fifth.
Cliff Lee looking for his fourth consecutive complete game. And his pitch count's in real good shape, and he settled in very nicely here this afternoon. Looking like the Cliff Lee that won a Cy Young 2 years ago and is one of the best left-handed pitchers in the game of baseball today.
Well, the last Mariner to throw 4 straight complete games was in 1988. That was Bill Swift. That has not been done in a long, long time in their organization. Strike call, and Jackson is punched out of there. So make that 6 strikeouts now for the left-hander.
Their starting pitching has not been the problem. Last 15 games, 8-4 with an earned run average under 3. But not getting a whole lot of run support. Mariners hitters just averaging a little better than 3.5 runs per game.
Damon rips one foul. Johnny in this one, a couple of fly balls. Both of them to left field. A 3-run third, a 4-run fifth for Seattle. They've hit a couple of home runs in this game, both 3-run shots. Action in the Tigers bullpen. That's Brad Thomas. Bouncing ball to second. Should be another easy inning for Lee, and it is. Tigers go 1-2-3, find the books here on the 4th of July. That's fireworks already in this game. Your new catcher is Alex Avila. Tigers have been out hit 9-4 in this game in a 7-1 contest. Here is Johnson leading it off. Ron Johnson, their catcher, and he takes a ball inside. Johnson, Saunders, and Suzuki. Johnson down to 197 now. He's 0 for 2 in this game. Ball high, 2-0.
That's why Johnson's hitting 197. And he's had a couple of opportunities here today in fastball counts. On fastballs right around 90 miles an hour, and he's just been late on them. When you get yourself in a favorable fastball count, a predictable fastball count, boy, you got to try to put that ball in play somewhere with authority.
Here's the 2-1. On the ground at third base. Look at that play by Hinch. Off to his right in the backhand. It looked easy. Jansen is out, one gone.
Brandon, watch his feet. His feet, they never stop moving. His feet are always moving, and that's why he makes so many plays. Once you become flat-footed at third base or any infield position, you're done. But he's a third baseman that has shortstop feet.
Here's Michael Saunders. Strike one to Saunders. He's 1 for 2. Infield single back in the third.
Not many guys like Brandon Inge walking around that could obviously play shortstop if you asked him to do so. He's also caught in the major leagues. He's played center field in the major leagues. And he's one of your better defenders at that third base position as we speak.
He was an all-star last year, the first time in his career.
It's a different kind of baseball player.
Here's the 1-1. 2 balls, 1 strike on Saunders. A couple of hits in the series for Saunders, who hit a couple of home runs in a game at Yankee Stadium. It was earlier in the week in their last series against the Yankees. Belts that one down the right field line, foul. It's an indication of the power that he has. 7 home runs this year. The only other rookie to hit 2 homers in a game in a Seattle uniform was Ken Griffey Jr. back in '89 when Griff was a rookie.
Long time ago.
This, of course, the year that Griffey retired. Two-2 pitch. Swung on and missed, and Thomas strikes him out. 2 gone here in the 6th inning. Time for another game break. Back to the studio we go. Here's Trevor Thompson. All right, Trev, thank you. That's what it looks like right now in the standings. Detroit percentage points ahead of the Minnesota Twins. And it figures to be quite a race as the second half will heat up. Chicago has gotten back into the race.
It's what it's all about. It should be a lot of fun. If you're the Tigers, the Twins, or the White Sox, you know you pretty much have to win your division if you're going to play some postseason baseball, because the wild card is looking more and more like it's going to come out of the American League East, as it does most years.
Yeah, it seems like every year, doesn't it?
Tigers got in via the wild card a few years back, but it usually comes out of the American League East.
Bouncing ball back up the middle. Rayburn. Satan. Ichiro beats out another infield hit.
That is the 25th infield single this year for Ichiro. And it's why he hits .330 every single year. You're literally running down the line as he makes contact. And if you're an infielder, you've got to go to your left or to your right. Just a couple of steps more often than not. And you're not going to get Ichiro.
Keeps the inning going for Sean Figgins. Figgins on base 3 times in this game. He's got a walk mixed in with a couple of singles.
I know the big boys have played long ball in this game. That would be Branyan, and that would also be Casey Kochman.
Right back up the middle off Thomas. It'll roll right to the second baseman, Rayburn. It was Johnny on the spot.
But Suzuki and Figgins have been on base all day long. Hey, Tigers fans, this season is easier than ever to find the seats you want or to sell the tickets to the games that you just can't make on StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Detroit Tigers. Go to StubHub.com and choose your seats today.
Well, your wishes are command. Happy 4th. Go Tigers. You are officially on TV, just as you had wished.
So we go to the bottom of the 6th. And Cliff Lee back to work. Tigers have Ordonez, Cabrera, Bosch. Maglio 1 for 2 with a base hit in this game.
Cliff Lee has thrown 64 pitches in this game, and a good majority of those pitches have been real well-located fastballs. Very few breaking balls has he thrown today. It's almost the same way that he pitched against the New York Yankees in Yankee Stadium. His last start, Derek Jeter said he just kept coming after us with fastball after fastball after fastball, and we couldn't get to him.
Fouled away again, 1-2 on Ordonez.
He throws 92, 93, but most right-handed hitters are late because of the deception in the movement of the fastball that Lee features.
Driven to center field. Franklin Gutierrez runs it down, 1 gone.
Well, it's the 6th inning, and that means it's time for the Coors Light Freeze Cam. We're going to take you back a few innings, and this is how Seattle got on the board. It was a breaking ball that stayed up. First pitch swinging was the big fella, Russell Branyan, and hits a 3-run home run. Of course, Coors Light Freeze Cam is always brought to you by your Frost Brewed Coors Light, and then Branyan followed that up with a single into the outfield.
Here's Cabrera. He swings on the first pitch and hammers it to center field. On the run is Gutierrez, and he'll run this one down as well.
I think Cliff Lee's career probably turned around, Mario, in 07 when he was left off the playoff roster. of the Cleveland Indians. And this was after winning 18 games the year before that. But 07 wasn't a good year for him. He was left off the playoff roster, but he kind of used that to his advantage and kind of got back to the drawing board in that offseason. And then he came back in 08 and won a Cy Young.
22 wins that year. In fact, he was 22-3.
And he had to fight to make their roster that spring training, 08. He was their 5th starter.
Well, we've talked about all of this talk that Lee is going to be traded. In your mind, and obviously we're not privy to what Seattle thinks, but how many big league ready players do you think they'll want to return? It's flared down the left field line. This is going to be a fair ball. Brennan Bosch on his way to second, and he'll get in there with a 2-out double. Brennan Bosch safe at second base, safe and secure. New York Light.
I don't know how many big league ready players they'll get in return, but this much we do know because we've documented it. Jack Zarenzik, their general manager, has already gone through this process once. They acquired CC Sabathia a couple of years ago when he was working in the front office at Milwaukee, and Brennan Bosch continues to hit the best left-handers in the game of baseball today.
26 multi-hit games for Bosch.
This much I do know, Seattle's going to want some hitters. They're going to want some power hitters.
Well, when Cleveland got rid of Sabathia and Lee, they were in a situation where they just wanted to rebuild, so they got a lot of minor league guys in return.
Now, Seattle wants some big league ready players.
The 0-1.
Which is always a very tricky proposition, because if you're a postseason team or you have hopes of being a postseason team and you acquire Lee, you don't want to give up any of your pieces.
No. What's the point then of kind of dismantling what you have to get a Cliff Lee? And, you know, unless you're in a situation where you've got some guys at AAA that are really high ceiling prospects and big time prospects that are knocking on the door. But even those guys aren't considered everyday major league players, so that's tough to get those guys back.
Well, this much we do know, even though his name continues to be mentioned every single day, and that's Cliff Lee. He continues to go out, and it doesn't faze him one bit. It does not faze him one bit. Really, all he wants to do is hit the free agent market and get paid the kind of money that he has earned.
The 0-2 is a check swing down low.
And when it's all said and done, that's going to be somewhere in the CC Sabathia, Johan Santana kind of money. He's an outstanding young general manager, Jack Zarenzik.
He is in the position to listen to all the offers, but I guess there comes a little bit of pressure with that, in that if you do deal away a Cliff Lee, you better get some guys coming back the other way that, you know, are going to provide some dividends.
He's got a scouting background, 27 years in the game of baseball, and most of those years for Jack have been in player development. Scouting director in Milwaukee. We told you he drafted Ricky Weeks, Prince Fielder, Ryan Braun, some of the young players in Milwaukee, so he knows what good young talent looks like, and he's going to be trying to get back some players like those three I just mentioned if and when he moves Lee.
We always look back at that Cabrera deal the Tigers made, and the minor leaguers that they gave to Florida have not really flourished at the big league level.
Nope. Cliff Lee, you may remember a few years back, he was traded from Montreal to the Cleveland Indians in that Bartolo Colon deal. So he's been traded around a lot at the trade deadline.
The count stays on Ryan Rayburn. We're in the 6th inning here, 7-1 in favor of Seattle. Bosch with a double and a single against Cliff Lee. 2 of the 5 Tigers hits. And he's standing at second base right now, hoping to come home. Tigers today have been out hit 10-5. Rayburn staying alive. If nothing else, at least driving that pitch count up a little bit. Inge would be next. Swing and a miss, and Lee finally dispatches Rayburn. 7 strikeouts for Cliff Lee. Don Kelly is the new first baseman, so he's out there in place of Cabrera. Russell Brandon leads it off for Seattle as we go to the 7th. First pitch is up high. Brandon today with a 3-run homer and a single. Brandon skies this one, foul ground. Inge on a dead sprint, not going to be able to get there. It's out of play. So Brandon now with 12 home runs and a total of 31 RBIs. Bonine warming up. There's a ball outside. 2 balls, 1 strike. And that misses inside. Another high towering fly ball. This one hit to right field. It'll stay in the park this time, and Ordonez makes the play. Brandon is out of there. 1 gone. Well, as we celebrate the 4th of July, we have some news on the Fox Sports Skybox Lounge, which is now open at an Air Force base in Southwest Asia in cooperation with Fox Sports and the Department of Defense. It's kind of a stop-off point for our troops heading in and out of their assignments. So it's kind of a neat new Fox Sports Skybox Lounge in Southwest Asia. As Fox Sports getting involved in giving our troops a place to go. And on this 4th of July, we celebrate our troops and what they do for us. Jim Leland is out to the mound.
And Swisher. Konerko having a great year.
Bosch will not be part of the final vote. I thought there was a real chance he might be, because the fact that he kind of burst onto the scene, he's a good young player. He's created a lot of excitement. But you're right, the 5 guys they did select are all deserved.
Bosch still has a chance to get on. You never know. I mean, the next week or so, somebody could pull out with an injury or someone just not able to play, and that could open up the door for a new, fresh face. And no doubt that could be Brennan Bosch.
Eddie Bonine takes over for Brad Thomas. Jose Lopez, the batter. And he rips one down the left field line. Fair ball. It's going to go to the corner. Extra bases for Jose Lopez, and he is in with a double. His first hit today. He also has been quiet in the series, along with Ichiro.
Well, we told you at the top of the show, if you weren't with us, that Lopez, he's a dead fastball pull hitter. His spray chart tells you as much. When you allow him to do that, and he usually does very well.
There's Franklin Gutierrez. .11 hits now for Seattle. Tigers have but 5 today against Cliff Lee, who is in search of his 4th consecutive complete game. Gutierrez on base a couple of times. He has an RBI. Bouncing ball to third base. Brandon throws him out. 2 away with the runner holding. Gutierrez now 2 for 4 today. Bring up Casey Kochman. And they're going to walk him. Kochman today, a walk, a single, a 3-run homer, and now an intentional walk. And with the light hitting Rob Johnson waiting on deck, they'll take their chances with him. Kochman's home run that he hit back in the 5th inning was his first since one that he hit against the Tigers back on April 18th. So it had been a power outage for Kochman.
The shortstop, Josh Wilson.
I said Johnson was on deck. It's actually Josh Wilson, and he will come to the plate.
Your point was well taken. He's light hitting too.
And you've got the righty-righty situation here now with 2 outs. Wilson is 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts and a ground out today. And he takes a strike.
Bonine's done very nice work this year out of the Tigers bullpen in a variety of different roles. It doesn't really matter when Jim calls on him. He's just come in and pitched some good baseball this year for the Tigers.
Off the end of the bat, right back to the mound. So Bonine continues to get the job done. And the inning is over. We get a double, a walk, and they strand a man. It is stretch time here at Comerica Park as we celebrate the 4th of July here at the ballpark. Hope your holiday is going well. And we are getting ready for
pitch by pitch, and the fact that he can really change your eye levels. He comes at the top of the strike zone with fastballs. He goes down to the bottom of the strike zone with breaking balls. Then he goes back outside with other fastballs that are cutting away from the right-hander, and that's why Cliff Lee has dominated American League hitters the last couple of years. And he also gets the benefit of the doubt from home plate umpires when you throw as many strikes as Cliff Lee has thrown this year. He's only walked 6 batters.
And Brandon Inge leads it off here in the 7th inning. 7 strikeouts, and the 1 walk he has today was to Cabrera. 1 ball, 1 strike. Brandon in this game has fanned twice. And Cliff Lee just crossing the 80 marker in pitches thrown. 81 now for Lee. They get 1 and 2. Those 0-2 counts we were talking about.
8 of them today. Only 2 3-ball counts.
It's going to drop in, base hit. Inge has a leadoff single here in the 7th. Here's Alex Avila's first at bat. Gerald Blaird was ejected from the game along with Jeremy Bonderman earlier this afternoon. Avila taking over behind the dish. Alex at 224. First pitch strike, 0-1.
Cliff Lee has some of the best fastball command of any of the hitters in the big leagues.
This might be a double play. Instead, it's a wild throw to second, and everybody is safe.
Figgins should have just taken his out, but he got ahead of himself. He was trying to start a double play on a ball that was not a double play ball. Flips with the glove over the head of Wilson. Wilson gets caught off guard. Inge is safe, and Avila also safe.
First two men on for the Tigers. Here comes number 9 hitter Danny Worth. Runners go. And it's line foul.
How about Jim? Very aggressive here, down by 6 in the 7th inning. But why wouldn't you be? I mean, Cliff Lee is not going to give you lots of opportunities, so you might as well put some guys in motion. And Danny Worth is one guy that Leland will use in hit-and-run fashion. It's been a long, long time. If, in fact, that was a hit-and-run, it's been a long, long time since I've seen a manager put a hit-and-run sign on down by 6 in the 7th inning. But that's what separates Jim Leland from most. He is not afraid to do something like that.
By the way, they've ruled that play on Avila a base hit.
Did they really? Let me change that.
Yeah, I had to change it too. 0-2 on Danny Worth. Ooh, that one just missed. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Johnson holding that one there. 1-2. Swing and a miss. Well, he got the strikeout anyway. That's 8 of them now. How about the Comerica game summary this afternoon? What has transpired here today? Well, it's mostly been Seattle. Brandon and Kochman each had 3-run homers. Cabrera, Valverde were named to the All-Star team today. Bonderman and Laird were ejected in the 5th inning over the strike zone of C.B. Buckner. Here's Austin Jackson.
I was talking about Lee a couple of batters ago before the infield single to Avila. Great fastball command. Up and in, up and away, down and away, down and in. Majority of his 90 pitches today have been fastballs. He cuts it, sinks it, runs it. Fastball is a very valuable pitch. There was another one, a little cutter in on the hands of the right-hander Jackson. I mean, you kind of see this ball down the middle and it just chases you inside. Very few pitches has Cliff Lee thrown today right down the middle of the plate.
Man. 1-2.
He's tough.
He has struck out Jackson twice. He has struck out Inge twice, and he has struck out Worth twice.
Jackson twice looking on that little cut fastball on the outside corner.
Swing and a miss. This time he goes down, taking a rip. 9 strikeouts.
Now let's take a look at the location of those pitches to Jackson. I mean, 3 of them at the top of the strike zone, and then he goes to the bottom of the strike zone for the strikeout at 87 miles an hour.
Here's Johnny Damon.
When the Tigers have had a few runners on base today against Lee, and they've had a few, boy, he's been able to get a big strikeout to get out of a jam.
Yeah, he struck out Inge with a couple of guys on in the 4th. After that double by Bosch in the 6th, he struck out Raven. And now 2 strikeouts here in the 7th. Line foul. 1 ball, 1 strike on Damon. Final game in this series. Day baseball again here tomorrow as the Orioles come a-calling. Three-game series against Baltimore. Got him. Strike 3, or strike 2, I should say. Buckner rang him up like it was strike 3. 1-2. Jim Leland's just beside himself right now in the dugout. He is just beside himself. CB called this a strike 3. Leland was just throwing his arms up in the air. He even fooled me. I thought it was, did I miss a pitch? Well, it's strike 2, 1-2. And a bouncing ball to short. This will get him out of the inning. So the side retired. Tigers get a couple of hits. Fail to score a run. We'll go to the 8th. 4th of July celebration here at the ballpark today, but it's all Seattle. To go to second base. So Rayburn from second to right. Maglio is out of the game. Santiago is in.
Well, down by 6 against Cliff Lee. And Jim Leland has elected to rest Cabrera and Ordonez and get them ready for tomorrow afternoon against the Baltimore Orioles. Juan Samuel is the manager of the Baltimore Orioles these days. He blew a mini gasket in yesterday's game. Did you see that?
I did not see that. What happened?
He got kicked out of a game.
Really?
Arguing balls and strikes. He flipped, too. Pretty good one.
Juan's a low-key dude.
Yeah, but he flipped.
1-0 is on the ground and through. Base hit. Johnson is aboard his first hit today. I called him light hitting in the last inning, and he just got back at it with a leadoff single. 12th hit of the game for Seattle. And here comes the skipper again. So Daniel Schlereth, it appears, will be coming into this ball game. This will be his first appearance for the Tigers. Jim Leland takes the baseball, and we will step aside.
something that we will watch in the major leagues here with the youngster Schlereth, how many he walks, because obviously his stuff is very tough to hit.
So it's nervous time now for Mark Schlereth as Daniel Schlereth steps to the mound. And the first man he will face is Michael Saunders, the left-handed batter. And in case you're wondering about Mark Schlereth, those NFL fans among us know that he had quite a career with the Redskins and the Broncos, 3-time Super Bowl champ.
He must have lost a lot of weight because he's in really good shape these days, and he was a lineman, wasn't he?
He wasn't. He was in the booth with us yesterday.
Yeah, he was kind enough to come up and say hello. Ron Colangelo brought him up here. Of course, Ron Colangelo runs the PR department here with the Tigers.
Saunders fouls it straight back. 2 balls and 1 strike. Saunders in this game, a pop-up, a strikeout, and an infield single. Schlereth made his big league debut last year with Arizona, appearing in 21 games. He was up and down a few times last year. The 2-1. Strike call, 2-2. I was talking to Daniel the other day, welcoming him to the ball club and asking him how he felt. He said, well, I've been through this a few times. Trying to make his dad Mark at ease here. And the 2-2 pitch. Fought that one off. In on his hands, and he sent it back into the seats.
It's a good firm fastball at 94 miles an hour. Emergency hack by Saunders. Let me correct something on Ron Colangelo. He's the vice president of communications here for the Detroit Tigers. And he was kind enough to bring up Daniel Schlereth's father and fiance yesterday. Is that the same thing, PR, communications department?
I think it's all under the same umbrella.
Just want to make sure I gave him his due.
The speeds from Schlereth, well, 92 and above.
He's got an unhittable breaking ball. His curveball is filthy.
3-2 pitch. He's heading back into the seats. Schlereth is 24 years old. He turned 24 on May the 9th.
He and Ryan Perry were teammates in college. Drafted the same year. Both #1 picks.
And he lost in ball 4. So Schlereth gives up a walk to Saunders. First 2 men reach here in the 8th. What did Mark say yesterday in Tigers Live pregame? That Daniel can be effectively wild.
He did say that. He gave us a really nice scouting report on Daniel. Said his fastball was firm in the mid-90s. Talked about his curveball. And also talked about the fact that he had some command issues, control issues while down in Toledo. I believe he threw all fastballs to Saunders. Might want to mix in a breaking ball or 2 just to get a feel for that pitch.
There's a strikeout, Ichiro.
He's thrown 9 total pitches, all of which have been fastballs at about 94 miles an hour. Oh, there's that curveball. It's wicked when he can get that thing over.
One ball and 1 strike. Schlereth went to high school in Colorado, as you might expect, with his dad playing in Denver all those years. The 1-1 pitch into right field, and Rayburn will run it down, and the runners hold.
I like the fact that he came back with another breaking ball to Ichiro, even though he missed on the very first one. And he was simply trying to throw a strike with this one. And you could see it's one of those 12-6 breaking balls. It's right down the middle, but the fact that he threw it is impressive.
One gone, and here comes Sean Figgins. Tigers today have been out hit 12-7. They trail 7-1. Tigers have used Bonderman, Thomas, Bonai, and Schlereth. That'll go foul down the right field line. 0-1 on Sean Figgins. He's had a nice day today. Johnson started the inning with a base hit. And then Saunders walked. Ground ball off the glove of the third baseman Inge. It'll go into left field, and everybody moves up 90 feet. Inge almost made a play on that hot shot grounder. Figgins gets his third hit today.
You don't have a lot of reaction time down at third base, and Brandon, it feels like he should have made this play. He was telling Schlereth, my bad.
A rocket. So they're loaded now for Brandon, who already has a 3-run homer in this game. Hacks away at the first pitch and fouls it away. Tigers, once upon a time in this game, led 1-0 when Cabrera drove in a run against Cliff Lee in the very first inning.
They had him on the ropes, too.
But they could only get the one run.
And he has settled in since then.
Meanwhile, they got 3 in the third and then 4 in the fifth. Seattle with a couple of homers. That's rolled foul, 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes. The fiance there of Daniel Schlereth is Bree Workman.
They met in college at the University of Arizona. She was a gymnast in college.
Here's the 0-2. Fouled straight back.
I told my daughter when she went to college for the freshman year, I said, no Thanksgiving visitors. I said,
no, what exactly does that mean?
I said, don't bring anybody to the house. In her first year as a freshman, I said, do not bring any of these boys home for the holidays.
Were you sitting on the porch with a shotgun?
Well, I've already told most of them to come by there. I will go to jail.
You're not afraid?
I'm not afraid. I will go to jail. Which means I don't care anything about you.
The 0-2 has popped up into center field. Austin Jackson camping under it. Johnson's going to tag, and he's going to hold.
But what's funny about that is, you got football players, and you got lots of, guys from all over the country, and they know that my daughter lives nearby. Right up the street from where she goes to school. And it's like, well, can we come over for Thanksgiving? And no, my dad said no visitors for Thanksgiving.
Now, what was her reaction to that?
Well, she laughed, and she thought I was joking, but she found out very quickly I was serious.
No visitors. Eventually, she's going to have some visitors.
Yeah, well, they come by quite regularly now. They just didn't come for the holidays.
Here's Lopez.
And they usually come by when I'm nowhere to be found. Mom's got it all under control, though. That's what she tells me.
Sometimes, Rod, it's just better not to know. It's just better not to know.
You are absolutely right.
Lopez doubled in his last at bat. Missed it outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Where was that last one? Close, but no cigar.
Fox tracks ain't all that nice here today, the CC.
Here's the 1-1.
Or either CC ain't all that nice to Fox tracks, one of the two.
Well, CB has had some issues today with Bonderman and Laird. He's ejected both of them. Leland has gotten into a heated argument with him. Here's the 1-2. On the ground and through. It's a base hit. This will get 1 run in. It'll stop Saunders at third base, and now it's an 8-1 ball game.
Even though that pitch appeared to be away from Lopez, not usually a pitch that would yield a base hit between short and third, Lopez is a dead pull hitter and able to get out and around the fastball that's 93 miles an hour. Look where this pitch is. This ball is off the plate outside, and somehow he gets out there and hits it back between third and short. And Breeze like, oh.
So here's Gutierrez. Base is still loaded. A run in. 8-1 Seattle. Mariners have 14 hits today. Their season high is 15. That last hit by Lopez produced his 31st RBI of the year. And that run is charged to Bonine, who started the inning. That's going to be outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here are the updated numbers. Gutierrez this season against the Tigers, .448. Now the 1-1. Driven to right field, hit pretty well. Rayburn going back to the warning track in front of the wall to make the catch. And the side is retired. So Bree and Mark can breathe a sigh of relief. 8-1 Seattle. Are coming to town, and don't forget also it's a day game here. 1 p.m. starts. You can catch us right here on Fox Sports Detroit. Kevin Millwood and the rookie Andy Oliver will get together.
Kevin Millwood, pretty nice strikeout to walk ratio. And Oliver, although he has lost his first 2 big league starts, his earned run average is at 3. So looking forward to seeing the big left-hander get the ball once again for Detroit.
Orioles 24-56. Buried 25 games out. Not even the All-Star break. That's back up the middle and through. Base hit. So Santiago in his first at bat.
That graphic further illustrated something that I said earlier as far as the American League East is concerned. The wild card is going to come out of the East. The Tigers are in first place as we speak in the Central with 43 wins, and the third place club, Tampa, in the East already has 47 wins.
Meanwhile, Cliff Lee is about to throw his 100th pitch. 9 strikeouts, 1 walk.
He just kind of efficiently goes about his business, doesn't he?
Workmanlike.
Not a lot of flash. Just kind of gets out there, gets on that rubber, works very quickly, and throws lots of strikes. And the end result, at least for Seattle Mariners, at least his last 3 starts have been all complete games. He's at 100 pitches now. I wonder if Wakamatsu's going to allow him to try to finish this one today.
Right back off of Lee again. And there will be nobody to cover, and now the first 2 will reach here in the 8th. It's happened a couple of times today. Infield single for Don Kelly. And that'll bring up Brendan Bosch.
What's the name of this Eminem song he comes out to?
Not Afraid.
Not Afraid?
Not Afraid.
Got a nice beat to it.
It does. It's a really good CD.
It's a hot CD, I know that much.
So here's Bosch now, who has 2 more hits in this game, and Brennan's 7 for 11 in the series. Into left field. Saunders makes the play. Meanwhile, Tampa beating Minnesota again today, but by a slim margin. Bottom of the 5th inning, 2-1. Chicago, meanwhile, is in Texas this evening. Texas beat them last night. Here's Ryan Rayburn. So, you know, Rayburn's walkout music is country, so I can't identify that one. You into country at all?
Well,
that's a no.
Only when Faith Hill's singing.
And why would that be?
I don't know.
She's got a great voice.
She's about the only one I recognize on that circuit. Well, the name of that song that Rayburn comes out to is called Hicktown.
So did you know that?
No, I got it from the truck.
All right. Because you were about to seriously impress me there.
Because I'm assuming that it's all correct. If I get it out of the truck,
it's got to be right.
I'm running with it.
They would never steer us down the wrong
Well,
way.
half the stuff we get out of the truck anyway. So
half. Up to like 90%.
Jason Aldean is the artist that sings Hicktown. And I'm going to get a text here from my lovely bride here in a moment talking about Faith Hill again.
You getting yourself in trouble?
Well, yeah. I done built up a few points, though. Get out of that doghouse. It's always about building up the points.
You got to make those deposits.
You got to build up a few.
And then a few withdrawals are a lot easier. 2-2 on Rayburn. Lee has struck out 9 in this game. Season high is 10. Struck out 10 Tampa Bay Rays.
The last time the Seattle Mariners had to trade a pitcher the caliber of Cliff Lee, even though Cliff Lee has only been there for a couple of months, you got to go back to 1998, and it was Randy Johnson. Randy Johnson was pitching for Seattle, and he was traded to the Houston Astros for, at the time, little-known players. Freddie Garcia, Carlos Guillen, and John Halama went to the Seattle Mariners in that trade deadline deal.
Now, Rayburn's not going to like this call, but there's the 10th strikeout for Lee.
A good portion of his strikeouts today have been looking today. It's a fastball up, and he gets the call from CB.
10 strikeouts ties a season high for Lee.
If Seattle's able to do as well as they did back in '98 when they traded Johnson away, they're going to get themselves some good players. Of course, Carlos Guillen has gone on to be an all-star, and Freddie Garcia is still pitching for the White Sox. They both have gone on to have real good careers. John Alama, not so much.
Houston was kind of a surprise team in that whole situation there.
Randy Johnson went 10-1 for the Houston Astros after he was traded there. But the unfortunate part for the Houston Astros is Randy Johnson elected to leave as a free agent that offseason. Jerry Hunsinger was the GM of the Houston Astros at that time, and he said he would make that deal over again if he had to, because Randy got him into the postseason.
Wave and a miss. Hinge goes down on strikes, and that's 11 now for Cliff Lee. It's a season high in the strikeout category. Tigers baseball today brought to you by Bell Tire. A lot of good stuff coming up on Tigers Live after this one is done. So we invite you to stick around. Meanwhile, the Tigers have a new pitcher now. It's Enrique Gonzalez.
Enrique has pitched pretty good baseball since coming up from Toledo. It's his 7th outing now, but the earned run average is really good. And the opponents are hitting .242 against Enrique.
8-1 Seattle with the lead here as we go to the 9th. And Gonzalez facing Casey Kochman, who's had himself a day. Kochman's been on base 4 times, including a 3-run homer. First pitch is in for a strike. 0-1. 14 hits today for Seattle. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Hard hit, ground ball, base hit, so he's on again.
Well, good for Kochman that his bat has perked up along with the addition of Russell Brandon. Had he been swinging the bat this way all year, then Brandon probably would not be a Seattle Mariner. But it's still good to see Kochman's bat perk up and provide some offense for Don Wakamatsu, who is a dear friend of mine. I wish him all the success in the world once they leave American Park.
It's going to tie a season high of 15 hits for Seattle. Here's Josh Wilson. He tried to hold up, but he went.
Don and I used to own a baseball camp together, Thanksgiving camp we put on. Southeast School of Baseball. Had some good young players, good coaching staff.
The 0-1 lifted to right field. Rayburn cruising over. My earliest remembrance of Don Wakamatsu was back in this would have to be the late 80s now. He was a catcher in the Reds organization, was in A-ball in Cedar Rapids when I was broadcasting back in the late 80s in the Midwest League.
He's had a nice career, taken a long path to his first managerial gig. He was a coach in the Arizona Diamondbacks system when they started, and then he managed, and then he moved to the Angels, different variety of positions, player personnel job, and then he started coaching. Went to Texas as a bench coach for Buck Showalter, and now finds himself here in the big leagues. Well deserved. First Asian American born manager in the big leagues.
Well, hopefully the second half will be a little bit better for Wakamatsu. We don't know what his squad's going to look like, especially if Cliff Lee is traded. The 1-1.
Told you yesterday, if you weren't with us, Don was telling me how difficult that whole Ken Griffey Jr. situation unfolded, where he stopped writing Ken Griffey's name in the lineup, and eventually Griffey decided to retire. Don Wakamatsu said that was one of the toughest things he's really ever had to deal with.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Kind of got to the point where communication wasn't there between he and Griffey, he told me, and he said to me it was hard for him to look Griffey in the face when he wasn't able to write his name in the lineup every single day. He says, what do you tell a superstar?
Well, I can't imagine anything tougher for a manager as Johnson goes down on strikes, especially when you're dealing not with a star, but a superstar, and Ken Griffey Jr., a Hall of Famer. And it was getting clear that Ken just didn't have a whole lot left.
And that was the key. Don Wakamatsu needed to win some games, and Junior just wasn't helping. Therefore, he stopped writing his name in the lineup, and that's where they kind of went sideways. But and Don's a better man for it, I guess.
Here's Michael Saunders.
Because Griffey is just beloved in Seattle. I mean, really, all he's done in the Seattle Mariners uniform.
Saunders a walk and an infield single today. The Mariners have been in control of this game most of the afternoon. They trailed 1-0 in the first, but then got 3 in the third and haven't looked back. Cliff Lee's afternoon today. He's been marvelous as advertised. Here's the 2-1.
You talk to most managers and they will tell you in this order the 3 things that you need to be able to do to be good is, first and foremost, you have to have a decent relationship with your players. Your players have to play hard for you. Number 2, the media. You have to be able to handle the media and the press. And number 3 is the X's and the O's of the game, which usually is the easiest part for most managers because they've been around the game for so long. But you got to get those guys to want to run through a wall for you. And it helps to have good players.
I think most managers would tell you that if it was just X's and O's, it would be a dream job. But it's the surrounding things that go with being a big league manager. That's hit hard to right field. Rayburn to end the inning. So we're going to go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Cliff Lee, is he coming out to try and complete this one? We'll see. 100. And by Bell Tire, get the lowest tire price, period. Back here at Comerica Park as we celebrate the 4th of July. Happy holidays to all of our Tiger fans out there tuning in today. The Tigers going to need a big comeback in this one. They are down 8-1 as we go to the bottom of the ninth, and Cliff Lee will not answer the bell. His complete game streak will end at 3 in a row.
It's a wise decision by Don Wakamatsu. Nothing else to prove here today for Cliff Lee.
Alex Avila, meanwhile, swings on the first pitch and grounds out to Figgins.
Cliff Lee threw 111 pitches. He had 11 strikeouts and he walked just 1.
Brandon League, meanwhile, has taken over out of their bullpen. The former Toronto Blue Jay. Here's Danny Worth. He's 0 for 3 here today. $15 hits for Seattle. And the Tigers have had 9 hits, but they've gotten only 1 run. They haven't scored since the first. Fouled away. 1-1.
Well, what do you think? Did Cliff Lee's stock go up a little bit more here today?
Oh, no question. Absolutely, it went up. He had, 11 strikeouts, which tied a career high. They're going to be clamoring for this guy. Ripped into the left center field. Base hit, maybe more. Let's see. Gutierrez over to cut it off, and Worth will go to second with a 1-out double.
Let's go back to the Russell Brandon home run. It's going to be our cold, hard blast this afternoon. It was a breaking ball that he got from Jeremy Bonderman, who started in this game. And Brandon, when he's able to extend his arms with the power that he possesses, he can play long ball. He hit 31 home runs last year for the Seattle Mariners, did the big fella, Brandon.
So here is Austin Jackson. You know, Lee did have to work out of some trouble today. You touched on this a little bit earlier, but the Tigers 1 for 13 with men in scoring position. I didn't realize they had that many chances to score.
Yeah, when they did get a runner on, he brought his A game. The majority of his strikeouts came today when he was pitching in stress.
Now the 2-0 pitch.
I don't know what they're going to do when they lose him. They talk about the impact that Cliff Lee has had on their entire pitching staff in just the 2 months that he has really been in a Seattle Mariners uniform. He missed some of spring training. He wasn't there for the entire first month of the year. But apparently a huge positive impact Cliff Lee has had on their staff.
Jackson gets a walk. Is there any chance in your mind that they keep him?
I doubt it. Why would you? Unless you got $130 million to spend, you can't keep him. They've already paid Felix Hernandez, their other ace, about $80 million for the next 6 years. And no doubt Cliff Lee, after this year, he is going to be in that Johan Santana category. And he might get the same kind of money that CeCe Sabathia is making if New York and Boston get involved after the season.
What if you, however, are thoroughly underwhelmed with all of the offers?
I guess he can go to Japan and pitch.
That's going to get away from the catcher, move the runners up.
and really, I mean, and Cliff Lee has earned this day. I mean, he gets moved around the trade deadline because the teams can't afford him. Cleveland couldn't afford him, and now apparently Seattle can't afford him either. But he has earned this day. He is a free agent. And he is going to parlay that into a really nice deal. And he is not going to have to worry about his name being brought up next year like we're talking about him now.
Yeah, and he's done it in the postseason. He's done it in the regular season. The chopper back to the mound. League will check the runners, and Damon is out. So 2 gone. And that's going to leave it up to Ramon Santiago. Santiago a single in the 8th inning in his only at bat. Fouled back out of play. Well, if and when Lee is traded, he is, as you mentioned, going to be a huge difference maker. Huge.
I just hope he doesn't land in the Central. And you know that Kenny Williams and also Bill Smith in Minnesota, their general managers, they're going to try to get this guy.
To the shortstop, should do it. Wilson throws out Santiago, and Seattle avoids the sweep here this afternoon as they beat the Tigers behind Cliff Lee. 8-1 final score. Back with more in a moment.